Today's episode, we're going to start off with, I'm not going to call it a banger, but something that I used to really struggle with. My mixed signal was, I thought because I did not get fired after I was on probation at work, I won. Like everything was going to be okay. I felt like, yeah, I did it. Things are going to be smooth now. I had no idea the damage I had done to myself while I was on probation. So let's talk about it. You probably have no idea who I am, but stick around, hear me out, and I think you'll see we have quite a few things in common. I'm Courtney Nicole Taylor, and this is Mixed Signals. So a few things to note before we jump in. If you see this string, it's the mic. Since I'm just getting started, I didn't want to buy anything new. And years ago, when I was doing a podcast, my brother gave me this lapel mic. This is before they got the cool digital ones that they have now. But until I prove myself consistent, I will not be purchasing anything new to make this happen. So bear with me if it starts swinging or if it looks weird. Well, my bad, y'all. It's staying until I know that this is something that I'm going to invest in consistently. I want to do it, but things happen and sometimes we get started and we still stop. So getting started is not always the hard part. Sometimes it's keeping going, like continuing to go. So jumping in, I had it mixed up. I was on probation at my very first corporate job. And in less than a year, I got that probation. It started off as a 30-day probation, then got extended to 60-day, and that was it. Now, how did I get there? Why was this so bad? One, about to lose your job or losing your job, any type of termination, especially when you don't get to decide, is a problem. For me, for most people. Additionally, all the work that I did to get there. When I graduated college, it was about 2009. I graduated a semester early. I was like, I'm getting out there. I'd done college internships. I didn't get a job from the internship that I wanted. I was still applying for jobs and it just did not happen. 2009 was a rough time for a lot of graduates, but then you still saw people who were getting jobs and I wanted to be one of those people. And it did not work out for me. So what I did was I moved back home and I kept working at Enterprise Rental Car. I was working there in the airport when I was in college, and then I just went on full time as a part of their management trainee program. Now, that program works for a lot of people. It definitely teaches you some fundamental things. I wanted to do marketing. I always knew I wanted to do it. I was like, oh, when I get older, I'm going to have like multiple commercials that are aired during the Super Bowl every year. People are going to hire me because I have the ideas. You can still hire me. I still have the ideas. I'm just putting it out there. It's going to still happen, but that is how much I knew I wanted to do marketing, right? So that's what my degree is in. Okay. So I'm here at Enterprise Rental Car and I'm just frustrated. It's not what I want to do. I'm in a suit. When the people who wash the cars are not there, the technicians, you still have to wash the car because you want people to have a great experience. The way that you perform well, performance is measured based on how much insurance you sell. So you're supposed to sell about like 80% insurance on 80% of the contracts that you manage. And sales just wasn't my thing. And maybe it could have been my thing, but when you're selling something that you at that time weren't even trying to purchase yourself, it makes it even harder. So when you're not a believer of the thing that you're selling, oh my goodness. So the salespeople who can sell things that they wouldn't even use themselves, I have to give it to them because that just was not me. It made me so uncomfortable, but because I'm a deliverer and I get results, I still performed well. So when I did quit, and shout out to my older brother for encouraging me, my parents probably weren't thinking that at the time. He's like, what? You don't like it? You move back home? Quit then. And then I did quit. That day, I went into the office and quit. Mind you, I was already frustrated because I had gotten pulled over and got my first official ticket. And the officer was like waiting for me to sign the ticket so that I could go. And I was just crying. He was like, ma'am, I need you to sign this ticket. I was like, give me a minute. I'm over here getting a ticket. And because I'm sitting up here rushing to be on time for a job I hate. I was so dramatic. Oh my God. And he was annoyed. His partner was looking out the window like, the hell's going on with y'all? Anyway, sorry. I am from Atlanta, Decatur. And so that slips out sometimes. But getting back to it. So I quit that job, and my parents, they will accept you back in their home, but you have to be in school, going to the Army, or working. And so when I quit my job and I had to go back home, like literally that day, I was like, okay, what am I going to tell them? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to take the GMAT next week. I looked it up in 2 weeks. I looked it up and I took the GMAT in 2 weeks. Now, obviously that was a gamble. I was like, if I at least go to grad school or at least try, that's probably going to get me closer to where I want to go than like me staying working at Enterprise. Because also a lot of the conversation when I was applying for jobs at that time was, well, how much experience do you have? And I'm like, this is an entry-level job. I just graduated college. My college internship is it. But the entry-level jobs back then wanted you to have like 1 to 3 years. And I'm like, where am I supposed to get that from? So it was a difficult time. And that's why I decided, hey, let me try to go to grad school. Now, this is a caution. Do not be like me. There were a lot of better things, like ways for me to go about this entire thing. But that's just not how it happened. So taking the GMAT in 2 weeks, I would not recommend that for anybody. It worked out for me. I got into grad school. I got into 2 grad schools, one in London and one at the University of Tampa, which is actually where I went to get my master's of science in marketing. And I got into 2 grad schools, and I only applied to 2. But because at that time it was April or May, so there weren't even a lot of grad schools that were accepting applications. But because I was applying to this like specialty program, I didn't want to get an MBA. I wanted to get a master of science. It was just a little easier. So anyway, I did all that. And can I tell you, I didn't actually intend to finish. I was like, well, if I do like a semester, maybe they'll see that like I have some experience and that I'm serious and they'll want to hire me. And so I was working as a teller at Bank of America while I did a marketing internship at a startup in Tampa. Then I ended up going full time at that startup in Tampa. And by the time I found a job and someone was like looking to hire me, I had like a semester left. So I went ahead and finished my degree remotely while I moved to take on this corporate job that put me on probation in less than a year. So now you see what I went through to get there, where I was like losing faith left and right, because the first mixed signal I had was, you go to college, you get good grades. Hello, graduated summa cum laude. Like, hello, you do the right internships. I did. You're going to get a job, even if it's not from that place. I literally thought that. This is the formula, especially back then. This is the formula. First mixed signal. That's not even what this conversation is about today, but yeah. So that was the first thing that happened. Get this job. I applied for it in DC. They didn't have it there, but they had an office in Richmond. They said, hey, we have some roles available. And at that time, I needed a full-time job. I was about to graduate soon. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. And it was like in my specialty, it was paying me more than I've ever made at that time, which now when I think about it, I'm like, man, I was really humble back then. Now, after you get so many years of experience, you're like, what? They paying what for what? And I'm like, oh my God, girl, remember where you came from. Anyway, so now I'm here. I did all that to get here. I did all that rerouting, not giving up, stepping out on faith, doing all this other stuff. And I'm a big, like me and Jesus and God, we like, that's me, right? And so although I've had wavering faith at times, and I haven't always been like the greatest example of a Christian, like I was rooted in it. And so when I'm going through strife, which isn't always like, that's not the only time you should be going to God, but when I go through strife, I know where to go. And so I was looking like, what happened? Everything that I was supposed to do, I did at that job. All the deadlines were met. All of the work was done. And I still ended up on probation in less than a year of me being there. How did I feel? I felt tormented. Like I did all of this, turning my life upside down. Now, of course, like I said, some of this was my own doing, but I really believed that I was doing these things and it was going to work out. Like getting into grad school debt. I don't recommend this for anyone. That's why moving fast has consequences when you move too fast, let's say that, without the right tools and pieces. And so I've turned my life upside down to come here and get to this point only for me to get there. And I felt like, dang, everything that I've been working for is like, am I not good enough for it? Like, is it not even for me? And I've been trying so hard to get here. That's how I felt. I was depressed. I was so sad. I kept trying to figure out, like, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? How can I fix it? And that's why Mixed Signals is such a good platform for me to share these things, because I have been known to be an overcorrector. I want to learn the lesson once and I want to fix it so life never inconveniences me again. And that is not life. That is not life. Oh my God, that is not life. But that in that moment, I just wanted to fix it. I wanted to prove that I did deserve to be there. I wanted to prove it to myself. I wanted to keep myself from feeling the shame of having to go back home after turning my life around and making all of these changes that my parents didn't necessarily agree with, but they were trying to support me through it. Well, and my mother, I just had to like put that to the side. I was like, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. But I'm going to do this anyway. Anyway, it was bad. I could not have felt any more down about myself than I did in that moment, especially when it got extended. Now, why was I on probation? Well, I will never know the real reasons. Why do I say that? The real reasons for me being on probation are unknown, because what I was told and then what happened were not aligned. I was told it was things like, hey, your communication is not great. Now, my communication was good enough to get everything done. Did I have the confidence in myself at that moment to even think that when they told me my communication wasn't up to par? And mind you, this was one person who said it. I was communicating with other people and they were like, oh, that it's fine. When I tried to get feedback, they were like, oh no, it's great. It's fine. We don't have any issues with it. One of the other things that popped up was that I was flustered. Or I didn't seem as put together as she would want me to. Now, I'm young, but also the moments, the examples that she gave, let me tell you. Because when I got into a meeting, I would seem disheveled, I guess, or like a little flustered. That's the word she used. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm working my butt off to do everything I can to be on time for this meeting. Because the meeting in building 5 that you required me to be in, that you weren't in, ended at 11:30. This building is building 1, and this meeting begins at 11:30. So I am rushing across 4 buildings, including having to go outside to get to the others, just to try to be on time for this meeting. But how I show up is still not good enough. Now, is that fair? It could be. We are in a corporate environment. People want you to show up in certain ways. Okay. But had I been told any of those things before? No, I had not. And I guess it's, well, you're being told now that you're on probation. So when you're under that type of scrutiny, every single thing matters. And even though I would fix one thing, she would say, oh, well, I appreciate you fixing this, but now this is the problem. I mean, I don't expect anyone to be perfect, but I just think you need to be at 100%. These are quotes. I didn't make this up. Still in a place where I'm blaming myself. Now, there's another woman where we have a lot of similarities, and she is senior to me. She's not in marketing. She's on the business development side, and she was killing it. Like, she was bringing accounts that they struggled to do. She got fired. She was on probation, and at the end of her probation, she got fired. And she to look me in my face and told me, you need to prepare yourself. You're probably going to get fired too. When I asked why she got fired, I looked at her documents. It said that she was not a good social fit. What was unfortunate was I saw her do every single thing to try to fit in and accommodate these people, like at this job, trying to like be super kind, inquire about, their lives and their kids, things that she would hear them talk about with each other. She would try to, just be a ray of sunshine, bring things to them, have a lot of energy, in addition to being excellent at her work. And she got fired. And so I was fearful. I was like, oh, it's going to happen to me if it happened to her. I mean, she's senior. She's been killing it more than me. And there were some other people who had gotten fired after probation, after being on probation as well that year. It was a mess. Now, I was just so over it at one point and tired of feeling sad about myself that I decided if they don't want me here, I don't want to be here, right? And so I was applying for jobs, applying, interviewing, nothing. Talk about like thinking that you can't get any lower, and then you realize you don't even have the options that you think you do to get out of this mess. Embarrassing. That's literally how I felt. And I'm like, okay, God, they don't want me here because they got me on probation. I don't want to be here. Like, the math is mathing. Like, set me free. I want to go somewhere else. And I need a job. So it was a mess. Now, the other turning point was I ran into this woman who was pretty high position there, and I didn't really know her personally, but we worked in the same building. She would see me around. There were only a few people like that looked like me in that building. And so, just like out of support and connection, it's always nice to be able to like uplift each other, especially when sometimes you don't feel seen. And she did a great job at that. And so one day she was like, hey, Courtney. I was like, hi. But I didn't have like a smile on my face. And she was just like, you're not smiling. What's going on with you? Come in my office. Just like that. And I was like, wait, what? And because you also don't know who is paying attention to you to even know what is normal for you, right? So I was like, what? She asked me what's going on. And I just tell her, because at this point I did everything I could. They extended my probation from 30 to 60 days. They didn't fire me, but they also didn't take me off. So I'm like, things aren't getting better. I've literally given all that I could. And if it doesn't work, if I'm not a fit, that's okay. That's where I was at that time. So I told her what was going on. And she just said, okay, listen, I'm going to send you a name and she's going to reach out to you. You need to meet with her. That's all she said. And then she dismissed me from her office. So I had a meeting with that person, and that person was the head of diversity. And I was shocked because we were in onboarding together, and she shows up and she's like, what are you doing here? You were the last person I would have expected to see here. She also did her research, and she was like, well, you've done everything you were supposed to do. She was like, but tell me about what's been going on. Tell me what's being said. Tell me all that. And I did. Now, this was an interesting conversation to have because I was confused, but then I also just wasn't comfortable at the time talking about certain things. Like, you don't want to rush to call like things racism or favoritism, or a person just doesn't like me or they're picking on me, because you want to be able to take ownership, because we're in corporate America. This is work. You want to show that you're mature enough to take ownership and fix the problem. But I had done that time and time again, and I explained that. And when I say I didn't want to rush to think of it as racism, I didn't tell that to her. I didn't tell that to the other lady. But I was also like, well, why is she here? Like, I don't want to. I wasn't like, what? Why are you even here? Why am I even talking to you about this? And so after that, I was like, whatever, I'm really done. If I get fired, I'll go back home. I'll take this little bit of severance, and like, the Lord will provide. I'll figure it out. I'll just have to be embarrassed. 2 weeks later was the end of my probation. And right before like the last few days, I told my boss at the time, hey, because I was a whole different person now. Hey, look, I've done everything that was on the checklist that I need to do for my probation. I've completed everything, launched everything, and submitted everything to you. Let's have a conversation this Friday in our next meeting about what's next for me. I would hate to come in here next week just to get fired, because it wasn't up until technically next week. And I really did say that. And she was like, what? Oh my God, fired? You would, oh my God, no. Something would literally have to blow up for you to get fired. That's how she said it. It's like literally something would have to blow up. What? How could something have to blow up for me to get fired when I've been on probation for 60 days? And I've been freaking out. Like, I've been freaking out for 60 days, and you're over here acting like that's not even an option for you to get fired. Literally said, you're doing great. In fact, we want to, like, Megan's leaving the team, and let's just say her name is Megan. Megan's leaving the team, and we want you to take on her role. Now, I went from being on probation, and I'm not good enough, and I'm doing all these things wrong, according to you. But now you want me to do my job and the job of a person who's leaving, who is 2 levels above me and has the biggest accounts that we have, because I was in brand partnerships at the time. The biggest accounts that we have, a global company that we partner with, 2. And you want me to take on my work with these national companies and her work with these international companies. And she was a higher level than me, but I was just on probation for 60 days. Y'all, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? While I was happy to be off probation, especially because I didn't have any other options at the time, because I had been applying and no one else was hiring me, I was like, okay, well, everything's going to be fine now. Like, at least I still have my job. But it was never that. Let me tell you something I realized. I let what one job, and not even the whole job, what one manager at this job was saying about me define me. I realized how much I let a job and status define me, how much I let a job determine what status was. I realized that before I even got off probation. But after like praying and crying and fasting and doing all these things and like just being honest with my community about it, you know, my parents were very supportive. My friends were very supportive. Nobody treated me as I was like this big shameful thing that I like I felt. But I realized after I had gotten so low, like, this can't be all that you are. This can't be the thing that determines whether you're great or worthy or not. It can't be. It simply can't be. So once I got off probation, that's why I was able to go in there and tell her, oh yeah, let's just talk about the next steps on Friday. I would hate to come in here next week just to get fired. Like, that's a waste of energy. I was there because I had already decided that no matter what, I'm still going to be great. Everything doesn't have to work out. A relationship doesn't work out, and that didn't stop me from dating. You know what I mean? Like, one diet didn't work out or one workout didn't work out. That didn't stop me from trying to lose weight again. Like, I'm not going to sit here and let one job out of the billion jobs in the world make me feel like I'm not adequate. Like, that's where I had to get to. But I had already done so much damage to myself that I'm saying this and I'm trying to have confidence in it. But you know why it wasn't real? Or as real as I needed it to be. It was real and it's true, but it didn't really like live within me like it needed to. Because for the next 10 years, every time I had a performance review, I was holding my breath. Literally holding my breath, literally having anxiety, even though I know I delivered, even though I know I did all the work. Why? Because I had done that before and still ended up on probation. If I was literally slacking on something that I could solve, I think maybe it would have been easier for me not to have probation. But because it was like an unsolved mystery, I never had a full answer for it. I wasn't sure of what someone might use against me or say about me, or what that I would do that I didn't realize that would get me in that situation again. I have never been on probation again. Never. But it did not stop me from thinking that I was one step from it. It's like I was living, instead of paycheck to paycheck, like financially, I was living like, like I was one step away from like being on probation at all times. Like, that is no way to live or to work. It creates so much anxiety in you, and you end up treating people a little differently, or even yourself differently, or responding to things in a way that doesn't serve you. And it's not that I was mean, but people can sense anxiety in you. They can sense when you don't have a calm. They can sense when you don't have confidence in certain things. They can sense when you're triggered easily in certain ways, and they can't connect the dots always because they don't know your history. They don't even know why you think that. They're like, you're not doing anything wrong, but you know what? They're not trying to promote someone that doesn't have confidence in their work, who they don't know if they can trust to show up and speak and present certain things into certain audiences, because they get so triggered when people are asking questions. Like, that's what I did to myself. Now, while I was still at that company, okay, maybe, because the truth is that once you're on probation one time, they never have to put you on probation again to fire you. It's like, and so that it was reason for me at that company to feel like that, because I'm like, I could get fired at any moment, like without notice, because I've already been on probation. So there it made sense. I had like 6 other jobs at 6 top corporations after that, which says more about me and my ability to like navigate, move, like achieve results. And I've done great work at each and every one of them. Have I been perfect? No, but I've done great work. Like, I am a great employee, and I'm a great marketer. Like, I'm good at what I do. Not to say that other people aren't, but when you hire me, I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to do it well. And yet and still, that wasn't proof enough. You know what my dad told me one time? Because I had a family member that just always used to say negative things about me, and I would complain about it to my dad. And my dad said to me, I always try to counteract the negative things that are said to you. Like, I'm not saying they don't happen. I know they do. And that's why I try to counter it with all of these positive things. I've always done it. He said, but your whole life, all you do is hear the negative. That changed me, because one, to know that I was making my dad sad because I was hurting myself because his work seemed to be in vain, that made me so sad. And it really made me look at myself like, who am I, or what have I become, or why am I this way? And why do I let life, because I get confused. I'm like, but I thought if I did, like, I get so thrown off, or at least me. I would get so thrown off because I'm like, I'm not a bad person, and I'm a hard worker, and I do things that are right, and I really try. So like, why do things happen to me, right? It changed me. Other things that really helped was realizing that not only was I not alone, but what I went through has helped a lot of people. Now, I used to hate that my family and friends like to use me as the poster child for someone who was on probation at a job. But anytime they knew someone that was in that situation or a similar situation, oh my God, you should talk to Courtney. My friend Courtney, my sister Courtney. Oh yeah, she knows what it's like. I'm like, stop telling people that. Stop telling people that. I'm not proud that I was on probation. I don't even know if I'm proud that I got off. Like, I wanted to bury that and keep it pushing, but I couldn't. It's like God would work it out, so I had to talk about it. It's like, nope, you went through this for a reason, or because you went through this, I'm still going to allow it to be for good. You're going to help other people who are going through it. So that's cool. That worked out. That's great. But for a long time, it was eating me alive. Now, where am I? So I had a 15-year career in corporate America and working for top startups. I still work for corporations, but right now I'm a marketing strategist. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm on this side of things. And I don't think I could do this with the confidence that I have now if I was still so like disturbed by that probation. Because now I don't have the covering of a job where you're like, oh yeah, this is freedom. And we'll talk about me in entrepreneurship another episode. But feeling like, okay, at any moment somebody can get rid of me, which is actually true when you're a consultant or you do contract work. That is 100% true. There is no probation. There are no benefits. But I have to just be more trusting of what I provide. And when things are over, it's like, it's fine. Everything's not a good fit. Like if I can change job a million times, and that job can change their mind a million times about their structure and reorg and layoff and fire and rehire and all that other stuff. My clients can do the same thing when it comes to who they hire as contractors. And I can do the same thing. When you remember, like, I have the same power and ability to do the same things that are done to me, and not in a negative way, but people have their reasons and everyone might not understand their reasons. Everyone might not always understand my reasons. Now, of course, the whole probation thing is a different thing, but where I am now, it's like I can't live in that. And it was just one job. And even if it was two jobs, there's so many other things out there, and maybe it is a positive redirection. Maybe it was something that I did need to fix before it wrecked the rest of my life. I'm so grateful that it happened when I was young, because when I see people that are struggling with it today and they feel like they have so much more to lose than I did back then, because they do, I could not imagine if I was going through it at that moment, being older in my career and thinking like, oh my goodness, this is going to ruin my reputation, and not feeling like I have enough time to rebuild it. Not feeling like it's, I can navigate and move jobs as easily as someone in their 20s who can completely start over because they hardly went anywhere. That is a frustrating thing. So where I am now, how I've advised people, and what I wish I would have done then, but how I will continue to move forward, 5 things. Okay, so now I want to talk about 5 things that I would recommend to anyone who is going through this type of situation. If termination or a possible termination is something that you face or or you anticipate you will be facing, this is what I would recommend. And I have my computer because I'm not an elephant. Like I wrote it down, but yeah. So the first thing is to gather more information. So don't presume to know exactly how you need to respond immediately. Like, even when you have a timeline, I was on a 30-day probation, then a 60-day probation. Even when they tell you this is how much time you have, you may feel like I felt, where you're like, I have to solve this quickly. Like, you feel like this, and then you start to jump into problem solving mode. And you should not. Why? Because you probably don't have all the information. So the first step is to gather information. It's hard, but it's better to do that and get all the information you need so that you can move through solving it in a way that doesn't rob you of whatever the optimal outcome is. Like, you don't even know all of your possibilities, right? So don't take action. First, just find out. And the second thing is not to then go and assess what you found out. It's to actually feel it. Feel it, but don't let shame take you out. Now, what I noted was that the reason that feel it is not number one is because you don't actually know what's happening to you. So how I said, I was so hard on myself. I'm on probation. I need to fix this. What can I fix? I'm trying to fix the things that she wrote down. And there turned out to be other hidden issues that I had no idea about. And so that's why you need to just feel it, gather information first, and then feel it. Once you have a clearer picture of what's happening, then you can go through your emotions. I don't want your emotions to then influence what type of information you gather. Because now you might be vengeful, because now you might be angry, or you might be sad, and like it can just direct you negatively. And so you want to objectively gather all the information that you possibly can before you sit there in your emotions, so your emotions don't incorrectly guide you. So the other thing you want to think about is when you gather information, by the time you sit around and feel it, you might realize this might actually not be as bad as I think it is. This might suck, but it could help redirect me. I have been thinking through this. I didn't like this place anyway, and they're talking about giving me a severance. So if it doesn't work out, I'll be fine. Oh, well, they're going to give me these tools. Or, oh, you know what? I do need to work on that and improve that. I'm glad they didn't at least fire me. I know I've been slacking. Like, you just gather the information and then go through your feelings. So also a reminder, the truth is every situation isn't forever. And sometimes you won't learn the harsh lessons without these type of situations. It's unfortunate, but like I said, when you feel it, also be reminded of, what did I ask for? What is this teaching me? It's easier said than done, but when you gather the information first, it is easier to flow through your emotions in a way where you don't allow it to swallow you up and just like spit you out, or chew you up and spit you out, because you just feel so like about it, whatever that is for you. Okay, so after you gather the information and then you allow yourself to have a moment to feel it, then you're going to thoroughly evaluate the situation while anticipating hidden pitfalls. So you want to get as much depth as possible behind your probation or your termination to understand the source and subjectivity of the problem. Now, I still said anticipate the hidden pitfalls because you will never know everything. There are some things that are just completely out of our control, so you can only do what you can do. But it's good to know what information you don't have, think through what you might be missing, and prepare for things to possibly trip you up. But the more you prepare, the less things can trip you up and you not be able to see an alternative, right? Or a different route. When you're like I was, where you're like, oh my God, why, Lord, why? Getting tripped up or hidden pitfall, showing up, only pushed me into a deeper hole, only made me feel more hopeless. So that's why if you gather information, you feel it, and then you do your evaluation while still anticipating the hidden pitfalls, you're acknowledging that these things might happen, right? So the fourth thing is you want to come to grips with what's happening and plan for various outcomes. I really like this step because it helps you to decide the benefit of addressing the problem in different ways. It helps you to understand, okay, these are the pros and cons of these different things. But this is also how I can prepare myself to see these things as positive or something that can redirect me or a lesson that I can apply that will still get me ahead. That is the ultimate thing here. Realizing that in every situation, there's some type of gain. There's a spoil. You got to see what's feasible. Of all these different options, what will each of these mean for me? If I lose my job, I might have to move back home. If I move back home, I might have to do X, Y, and Z. And all these type of things. Okay, even if I keep this job, I don't want this job, but it allowed me X, Y, Z. And what I realize is that I want to do this, or I'm not good at this. So let me look for a role that allows me to exercise these things. Whatever it is, you want to figure out what each scenario needs, what's feasible, what can be used as a stepping stone. And then you want to determine the emotional and financial fortitude that's required for each scenario. Emotions matter. You want something that's going to make you feel where you can feel stable enough. You don't want to just throw yourself in another situation that's going to create anxiety because you're trying to run and escape from the reality that's happening. That is not what you want. Really understand that even if you're choosing a path that's greater, you still have to have a certain level of emotional maturity or fortitude to be able to move through that, because what's challenging, even if it's great, may still require a certain level of emotional stability or maturity or foresight for you to be able to push through and get to that greater. So regardless of what the situation is, you need to realize what it can cost you emotionally or financially, or what you need to build within yourself emotionally, or how you need to stack your reserves financially. The very last thing, be the ultimate decider. This is very important, and I'm going to actually read what I wrote because I can read it better than I can remember it. In a world where a company can fire you, demote you, promote you, or create uncertainties in your life at any time, you can't let their decision be what determines your value, what determines your ability to move forward, your ceiling in life, or what's possible for you. They can determine your ability to collect a check from them. That's it. But that's one company in the entire universe. One company cannot decide the greatest thing in your life if you let it. You cannot let one company decide the greatest things in your life. You can't let them decide your ability to produce. You can't let them decide your ability to be great or to move on or to still earn a great living. You cannot let them decide your ability to be proud of yourself. You just cannot. So if you don't get fired, even if you were truly the reason for your probation, that is only an indicator of them valuing you. And you're not even sure why they value you. Criminals, predators, racists, liars, they all value things too. Not to say that a job is those same things, but honestly, there's a lot of subjectivity that goes into these decisions. And so people will try to make you feel like they're making an objective decision. You can't let their false objectivity make you think that, turn around what you think about yourself. You just cannot. Trust me, it won't do you any good. So anyway, ultimately, don't give up. We sometimes get so ready to be down on ourselves for the rest of our lives because of one unfavorable moment, without even thinking through why this truly matters to us, and if we want to be valued by that company that we may or may not respect anyway. A lot of people don't even like their jobs. A lot of people don't even like the people at their jobs, but then they're surprised when the job doesn't like them or the people have the same energy. It's like, it's mutual. And you know what? Mutual is okay. We just don't like when it negatively impacts us. And sometimes people are sold out to their jobs. What do they say? Oh, I bleed whatever the company is. And they realize they needed you to bleed for them for as long as they needed you to. But once they're good and they're ready to pivot, it's thank you for your services. And then what? So you have to make sure that when things happen, whether you feel like it's just or unjust, that you decide inside, I'm not going to let this completely destroy my self-confidence. It's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. It might be inconvenient, but those are things that I've worked through before and I can work through again. Like, who are they to me? And if I cause this, yeah, you know what? Well, I'm not going to let it happen again. If you caused it, that's almost like the best thing, because then it's actually in your control. Like, you can actually change what's happening. But when there's a lot of subjectivity and you really don't know everything, and it's a game that's being played with your mind, then you really have to make yourself, like, strong yourself up and say, I'm not going to let this destroy me. I wish I had done that sooner. But anyway, I just wanted to encourage you guys. Like, one thing I do know is that my recommendations are based on my own experiences. And while everyone handles things differently and everything has impacted some people differently, I know there are people who were like me and really started to create a negative self-image of themselves. And even when they thought they healed through it or worked past it, because they're like, oh, I got another job, or I didn't get fired, you know, they turn that into self-confidence, like false self-confidence. You make yourself believe that, oh, you're fine, you work through it, you stay strong. But your actions moving forward indicate that that thing destroyed a lot in you, and you're just avoiding it, hoping that some job or something else is going to make you comfortable enough that you can pretend like that never happened, or it wasn't really a real problem to begin with. But you have to do that work, because you're the one who also let what happened negatively affect you. I had to, you have to. And another thing I do want to mention is that sometimes life feels harder because some people, like, that are within your reach, they can't speak to the struggle that you're experiencing. So you kind of feel even more inadequate. Like, if you don't know anybody that's gone through probation and it doesn't feel like a common thing, or it feels like a shameful thing because you're thinking of the negative outcomes, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to want to talk about it, and sometimes even get the help that you can to keep yourself from spiraling. Like, sometimes you can get help, but you don't know who to go to, or you haven't heard anybody talk about it. And sometimes you do talk about it and people don't understand it, and they only add to the blame that you're feeling inside. And you know what? I will say this isn't just for people who are struggling. This episode obviously is because it's about termination or possible termination, but there'll be other topics that I talk about during this mixed signal series, where you have people who are evolving and they have people around them that aren't familiar with this type of evolution. They don't champion it, or they don't even see a need for it. Have you guys ever heard of, like, well, you're doing better than most, or it's not that deep, or like, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, your life is fine the way it is. These are all, I don't want to call things red flags, but these are all like indicators that this might not be the right person, especially if you know what you're looking to do is going to put you into a greater space. And some people may try to talk you out of it because they're uncomfortable or they can't relate. And that is fine. If I can be an environment or just like a temporary community during these episodes for people who just need someone like to be like a thought partner with them, I would love to do that, because I've gone through those seasons myself and I do understand how they can negatively impact you. My goal is for people to not have to go about things the hard way like I did. And I don't mean that you're going to avoid hard things, but to be more intentional, rational, than I was, to also not let your emotions influence you for as long as I did, not let things, unmet expectations, or feeling like, well, I did everything right, why is this happening? Those mixed signals in life throw me for a loop to the point where I'm missing how to like capitalize, I hate to say it like that, on situations that could seem like they were meant to harm me. I'm figuring out how I'm going to use this for my good. It happened, it's bad, I hate it, I'm going to feel some type of way about it, but now what? And for a long time, I didn't consider the now what. So if people tell you it's not that deep, it is that deep. If it feels that deep to you, it is that deep. Same thing with me. Oh, it's not that deep. Oh, Courtney, you're that. When you look at the people who say those things, you have to also realize their life is not your life. And a lot of times you don't want their life. And, you'll even have people that seem to be in a greater space, but you don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know how they may be beating themselves up. You don't know if they have that same false confidence that I had when I thought, okay, everything's fine because I'm not on probation. So I showed them, like, seriously. You don't know people, you just know yourselves. And sometimes we don't even know ourselves because we surprise ourselves with things that we swore we would never do. So hopefully this helps. I can't wait to talk to you guys more about it. Cheers to the pivot. Subscribe, follow, like my channel, all of that. And I look forward to talking to you guys more on the next episode. This is Mixed Signals, and I'm Courtney. Here are my notes for today's episode. The first thing is it went a little longer than I expected, but I think it's still good. I think all of the information is valuable. When it comes to this entire series, I want to make sure that I'm establishing a very consistent experience, as in a framework of what you guys can expect me to cover each episode, as well as a time frame. Now, for what you can expect me to cover, I'm going to always start off with letting you guys know what the mixed signal was, like what I had wrong or what I thought. Then I'll go into the exact situation at hand. Then I'll talk about the background of why that situation impacted me the way that it did, why it was so stark, why it caught me off guard. And then I'll give you some details of how I handled it, whether it was for better or worse. And I'll always end it with a few steps of actions that I think anyone who's dealing with that should take based on my own experiences. So you can always rely on me to give you guys that framework. Right now, time is something that I'm working through, but what I don't want to do is rush through a story and sacrifice good details that can actually help people, just to make sure that it's a quick and short episode. But at the same time, I don't want to just be rambling on. So as I'm building out this series, give me some time to work through it. This is so brand new. I don't even know who's going to watch this episode or when someone might watch it. But it's something that you can keep in mind as you guys do begin to catch up, whether it's today or a year from now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode.